What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. This is episode number 3, and we're starting today's stuff on the back of our first Merseyside derby with the Toffees, that 2-2 draw at home to Liverpool. Tough start to the season, obviously for Everton, just one win in our first 6 games, and it's going to get even tougher. Yes, as I said in the last episode, that will be the end of Danjuma in an Everton shirt, because, well, unlike what we all thought, he's not going to be in an Everton shirt, he's going to be in a Spurs shirt. So I thought, okay, let me try something here. Starting today's episode off, I thought what I might try and do is give him to Spurs so he can go there in the January window. We'll keep him in the reserves until then, and we'll get a Spurs player in exchange. Now Everton have been linked to Tanganga in real life, so I tried to bring him in. Unfortunately, as you'll see, Antonio Conte said, no, I'm not going to give you Tanganga. I'm not even going to give you a third or fourth choice goalkeeper. No, you bought Danjuma, you made that mistake. Yeah, he's going to have to sit in your reserves, Doxy boy, because this is about realism. You can't use him because he's mine in real life. So, in the end, Conte wouldn't even give me one of their reserve goalkeepers in exchange. So, what I decided to do is I will put Danjuma in the reserves. That is it. We will no longer see him in any more competitive games here with Everton. He is done for his time at Goodison. He came in, he got 3 goals. Appreciate your service, mate. But now there's more pressure on DCL's shoulders because for an injury-prone at times, hit-and-miss striker, well, he's going to be the guy that fills in the absence of Danjuma as our top scorer. Yep, Danjuma, 3 goals start the season off. We'll no longer use him. What I'll try and do is I'll try and swap him to Spurs in January. If I can't do that, then I'll release him, either come the end of the season or in January. But for whatever happens from now on, whether I manage to get him to Spurs or not, then yeah, he will no longer play in this Everton team. So frustrating, but in a way, I kind of like it. As we know, Everton are struggling with the FFP. You know, they don't really have the money to spend and bring in any players permanently, at least not for any sort of significant fee, if you will. I guess I kind of like it. We were given a £50 million budget at the start of the season. I spent it on a player I can't use anymore. So I guess I kind of like that, really, for all the frustrations the Everton fans have with the way their club are run. I guess you could say that's kind of realistic. But even so, yes, we won't use Danjuma between now and the end of the season. I promise you on that. I'll try and give him to Spurs in January. If not, I'll have to release him instead. Anyway, first game of this episode on the back of the surprising draw against Liverpool. We were 2-1 down and managed to get a point courtesy of a goal in the second half. We would manage to win this game here away at St Mary's for our first away day victory of the season. Big one as well. Southampton, as we know, may well end up being a relegation threatened team in the game like they have been in real life. So it's a big win away from home there, 2-0. Calvert-Lewin and Damari Gray getting the goals in that one there. So yeah, for DCL, this is big, man. Like seriously, this season I said we were pinning our hopes on Danjuma to be the guy that gets us enough goals to keep us up. Now I can't even use Danjuma, so it's all going to be about DCL now, and hopefully the former Brighton striker Neil Maupay, who came in this year as well. But for the following game, heading back home to Goodison, another tough one here in front of the home crowd. Manchester United taking on Eric Ten Hag's side. Obviously, as we know, what a fantastic run of form, not just for the Red Devils, but in particular Marcus Rashford as well. Well, heading into the game, I was thinking, okay, alright, well, he's not up top and leading the line in this game. And instead, the guy that was the guy that ended up tearing me a new one. Yep, Anthony Martial, 50 million down the drain as Tony Martial scores again, and he scores twice. They sung it twice in the away end. Yeah, 2-0 up in the first half. Martial bagging a brace in this game, down by 2, and I knew at this point we weren't coming back. Came back against Liverpool from a goal down to claim point. There was no way of coming back in this one. We would have lost the game by more goals. Well, had it not been for Pickford. He made a couple of really good saves, especially in the second half. So a great save with a boot there to keep it to 2-0. But really, it just was a case of how many more goals can Manchester United score in this game and how bad can it get. Unfortunately, 21 minutes to go, it did get worse. Yep, Idrissa Gueye returning for this season, taken down from behind. It's a tough challenge, but a fair one. But as you'll see, the repercussions of that challenge, where he's going to be out for 3 months. So, yep, good win there against Southampton, but then, yeah, disaster in the following game. We lose 2-0, beaten comfortably, and we lose one of our best players to injury for the rest of the calendar year. It's how it goes with Everton, man. You just can't have too much of a good thing. And when you start enjoying things, when things seem to be turning a corner, that's when you're reminded this is Everton Football Club, and it's very, very hard for consistent good things to occur at Goodison, unfortunately. The Everton fans will tell you that, man. It's been years and years and years of frustration, and unfortunately it continues there. Yeah, big injury there for Idrissa Gueye, who has been pretty solid, to be fair. It's a shame, but when you look at the stats there, obviously the stats are very what's the opposite of detailed? Very, very basic. Yeah, the stats are very basic. You know, you just see the goals, you see the assists, and you see the clean sheets. I've always felt it would be kind of nice if you could have, like, you know, slightly more in-depth stats, if not in the squad hub, then in the team stats section. And you could see stats such as interceptions, percentage of tackles won, percentage of aerial duels won, because it means that sometimes when you look at your defence-based players, yes, you can see the clean sheet stat, and that can be important for your goalkeepers and your back line. But DMs, for example, who, you know, probably aren't going to get you many goals or assists per season if they know their role as a ball-winning midfielder, an anchor man, or a halfback, you know, the likelihood is what they do, you're not really going to be able to keep track of for the season. So you'll look at their stats and you'll think, God, he's been awful. But actually, in the first few games, he's been alright for us. In the games we've won, he's been pretty decent at recovering balls and just laying them off to more creative players in our team. So that's a big blow there. It's something I hope EA do look into in the future. Don't get me wrong, I'm very, very glad that now the stats screen is a lot more detailed than it used to be for just individual games. Don't like it for the rest of the season. If you could go and look at your team stats, you could see, oh, you can see there that, you know, for example, Idrissa Gueye had the most ball recoveries of the season, or the best aerial duels one of the season or something. Just to give you, because you see the stats here, the individual stats I show you, it's a lot more detailed than it used to be before, which is fantastic, and I praise EA for that. It's really good. But for example, in Football Manager's stats are just so detailed. It's incredible. People talk about FM sometimes and the jokes that it's a glorified Excel spreadsheet. But listen, man, for stats nerds like myself, that's why we love it so much, you know. And I do wish that FIFA and EA could just improve it just a little bit, you know. If you can record it for individual games, then why can't you keep the stats for at least, if not for the entire career, at least for a season, you know. I'm not too sure. Anyway, won the game there against Brentford. That was a big win as well. Yeah, fantastic victory away there at the G-Tech Community Stadium against Brentford, who again may well be a relegation threatened side in the game this season, based on the starts of the campaign here. So that was a big win there away from home. Our second away win all season long, and it came back to back. And I was thinking, okay, all right, we won back-to-back games on the road. Can we make it through on the trot? Unfortunately, a victim of the fixture list. We were away at the Emirates against Arsenal, and I was not fancying my chances here. Yeah, in the first half I was torn apart. Reece Nelson, who has been linked to Everton as well, scored 2 goals and absolutely tore me apart in the first half. He was absolutely on it, and there were 15 seconds to go in normal time. In a game where I was dominated here, I just gave Arsenal a really cheap goal. Game was done at this point, but that's such a frustrating goal to concede. Really, really poor. Trying to play out from the back, gave it away. Ben Yedder and Gabriel Jesus play a 1-2, and it's a simple finish for the former Manchester City striker. So 3-0 away in North London, and our winning run away from home gets cut short at 2. So, you know, very difficult start indeed. So, just 3 wins in our first 10 games, 14th place, 11 points on the board. The luxury for us, though, right now, is that the teams in the bottom 3 are really, really struggling. Yeah, all of the teams in the bottom 3 right now have failed to get a win. And, you know, that is a massive, massive luxury, because, you know, oftentimes in a season, we do often see, like, one team does really struggle mightily. So sometimes it feels as though there's only 2 places up for grabs in terms of relegation. But for this season, all 3 teams have had a really, really poor start. And that's why at the moment, well, yes, we've only had 3 wins in 10. It has been a very tough start indeed. But listen, man, it could be a hell of a lot worse. And considering the fact the teams in the bottom 3, none of them have got a win between them in the bottom 3 right now, gives us a really, really big bonus. No, we're still a few points clear of the bottom 3, even though we've only had 3 wins all season long. But we know form in CM is so OP, and that means if one of those teams goes on a run, they'll get out of the bottom 3, climb out really quickly, and may not look back between now and the end of the season. So what that means is we need to get our form consistent as well. So for the following game, Leicester back at Goodison, I was thinking, okay, alright, just a 1 win at home all season long. Can we respond here on the back of that big thrashing away in North London? Unfortunately not, beaten by 2-0 in this game by Brendan Rodgers' side. Jamie Vardy getting the second in this game in a very disappointing 2-0 loss, and I was like, man, how do we start off better at Goodison, but now we're better away from home? I said this year Goodison will need to be a fortress if we are to stay up, but instead now it's turning the other way around. I'm actually thinking when we go away from home, yes, away at the Emirates we were beaten by 3-0, but instead I'm actually thinking, do you know what? You know, we're going away from home. When I am away from home, I'm thinking we might pick up a point here. So for the following game, we're away at St James's against Newcastle, and they have not had a great season in the game. In fact, they're right next to us in the table right now. So I was thinking, do you know what? Okay, fair enough. Arsenal, high flying. That's always going to be a tough one. This was always going to be a tough one as well. But because they've struggled in the game, hey, you never know, might be able to get a point here. Heading into the game, and, well, I was proved wrong. Yeah, they absolutely dominated in the early stages. Had it not been for Jordan Pickford, I would have been 3 or 4-0 down inside the first half an hour. That first goal was coming, and it did. 10 minutes to go before the break, Palacios drills in from a failed clearance from a corner and gives Newcastle the fully and thoroughly deserved lead. Yeah, they were dominating. How they weren't leading by more than one at the break, only one man knew the reason why, Jordan Pickford. So, yeah, down by a goal. I thought, you know what, Pickford's kept it in the game here. We're down by a goal. We can still get back in this. One goal, we're back on level terms. And wouldn't you know it, 15 minutes after the restart, we got it. Andros Townsend storms down the right. And you would have seen pre-game against Leicester, I switched my formation to a 4-1-4-1. I said this year we're going to experiment formations a little bit. We tried 4-5-1, we tried 5-4-1 for a game, we had 4-4-2 for our recent run, and I thought after before the Leicester game I'll switch to a 4-1-4-1 again, see how we get on. We lost that game, but in this one, well, the midfield's a lot more balanced, I must say, and whilst we did concede the first goal and Newcastle did have far more chances, we looked good on the counter, and that's how we got both our goals. First, Andros Townsend cutting it back to Amadou Onana, and then Anthony Gordon almost did it again. Anthony Gordon, the two players that say they want to leave Everton, well, they were the two goal scorers in this game, so I certainly can't afford to lose them this season in the say they were big in ensuring we'd complete the turnaround and win the game. But whilst they both got the goals each, there's no doubt about it. The man deserves the praise. The man is getting it right there. Jordan Pickford. Yep, no longer T-Rex arms, at least not in this game. He made some amazing saves in this one. And again, we look really good on the counter in this one. Pickford made some fantastic saves in between the sticks and ensured we would manage to get an undeserved, no doubt about it, undeserved 3 points. We'll take it. It's 3 wins from 4 away from home. That's a really impressive mini run on the road. And a third way through the season, we're up to 13th in the table, and we're still 10 points clear of Brentford, Leeds and Bournemouth, who still are yet to get a win between the three of them. Yeah, big win there, but there's a long, long way to go, so I'm taking nothing for granted. But that will end today's episode of the Realistic Career Mode, guys. Big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. If you had, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Realistic Career Mode very soon.